All right, so recreating, rebranding, relabeling, redoing, resuming you as in new you, boo. For the sake of conversation, I have a performance piece and I'll link it below about we are all just pretending. So for the sake of this, in the event that we are a character assuming a role and the director is like, cut, and now we need you to play this other role, which means that you need to assume a new character while still contributing to the same plot. This is life, except sometimes the director yelling cut is not always an external force or a director. Sometimes it is a higher form of you. Sometimes it is your creator. It is your higher self. Sometimes it is something outside of you. Sometimes something inside of you that is calling for the reevaluation and the reformation of yourself in the role that you are playing. So I said that I would talk about various labeled conditions and how I reform, relabel, rebrand, recreate those roles in order to serve me. And so I will do that here and now. So without taking too much time, I will go through how I believe that there are labeled characteristics, conditions, roles that we assume. And within the observation of existing inside of those characters, those roles, those conditions, those labels, there are beneficial characteristics and key elements of which we can take and transform and transmute and take into the new role of our existence. So let's talk about clinical illness, asthma. I was labeled asthmatic. I transformed that into a deep understanding, a deep dive into the causes and the cures. And so I learned that the condition is something that had both physical and metaphysical components, whereby I was able to transmute and transform the limitations and labels of being an asthmatic into learning that I literally did not know how to breathe. And perhaps life had taken the breath from me. And that's something that I needed to restore unto myself. OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. I'm going to tell you something about obsessive compulsive disorder. In the event that you experience the symptoms associated with obsessive compulsive disorder, you are keenly astute and aware. You are capable of multitasking, arranging, transmuting, and transforming energetics in a way that is beyond your comprehension at the time that you are labeled and compartmentalized and refrained and reformed. My OCD allows me to organize and compartmentalize and define things far beyond the capacity of three-dimensional comprehension. I'll go back to that one. Anxiety. Anxiety is a condition which showed me my forward thinking as well as my astute awareness of energies that supersede and govern my present reality. So anxiety, and being anxietic is not something that is to be embodied, rather to be witnessed, observed in its experience, and then translated so that it can be transmuted and transformed. Body dysmorphia. That's one of my favorites. So I talk a lot about our soul as witness to our physical being. Body dysmorphia showed me how the remembrance of my infinitude, my expansive, lighthearted, exponential self felt held down and bogged down and confined and contained by this human body suit. And again, I'll elaborate. Depression showed me a reflection of past regret, remorse. Dense energies which are intended to repress, refrain, repress, contain the now embodiment of the who, what, when, where, why. So depression and how it can show you where you are out of alignment, disaligned, misaligned. ADD and ADHD. All right. So once upon a time, I saw this meme and it said that ADHD was attention dialed into a higher dimension. Not being able to focus your attention upon brainwashing, boring ass shit that you are supposed to learn and pay attention to. That's bullshit. So, the awareness of being bestowed these gifts of clinical conditions are just a gift from your highest self, from your soul, from your expansive existence, in order to identify where you are limited and restricted, where you are contained and detained, and therefore require release. And so we like to talk a lot about letting go, let go, let it go. You know, no. What we're letting go of is the labels and the limitations of the linguistics and the definitions and the defined and refined and contained containers, which hold these things which are not true. They are not the highest truth. They are a truth, but not the truth. You heard that one? So I'll go further into those, but I just sort of wanted to like rapidly kind of summarize how the labels under which I have previously existed have allowed my recreation and rebranding, relabeling, reinstituting, however you want to it, to something that is beneficial, to something that is a blessing